elimination games today, potentially. So, again, I'm going to wear a jersey of a team that might be out after tonight because it may be the last time I get a chance to wear it. And if it had any magical powers, why are the Flames out? I wore it the day that the Flames got knocked out. It didn't help them. So, I believe the day of the sweeps. I think I wore a couple on at least one on the day of the sweeps of theirs. And, anyways, yes, the hockey powers that continue to be discussed. I'm guessing in an ironic or joking manner because during the season it was Shannon, you wore a jersey. Now we're done. Now we're dead. Thanks for wearing our jersey because you're going to make us lose. Even though the numbers were a little bit above 50% that if I wore the jersey, that team would win when I tracked it. And then I thought, this is stupid, and I stopped tracking it. Speaking of hockey, Capitals. So the Capitals on the road tonight have to break a pattern in this series if they're going to move on to the next round. And the fact that the home teams won every game has kind of offset the fact that home teams aren't doing very well in these playoffs. So this series is kind of making home teams look better than what they've been. And when I talk about home ice disadvantage, there were people who posted on that video. Well, that's no surprise. It is a surprise that the team that gets home ice advantage loses both games, and then the team that didn't have home ice advantage wins both games to sweep those teams. That happens twice. And it is a surprise when the team that is the higher seed has a worse home record than the one that's the lower seed. That is a surprise. This series hasn't had a surprise yet. So does Washington produce a surprise, or is it a surprise if Carolina stays in it and forces another Game 7? I mean, another because we had two of them forced yesterday. I love Game 7s. Backstrom, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's the leader for the Washington Capitals. Alex Ovechkin, 3 goals, 4 assists. There are 5 players with 4 or more points. I didn't cut it off at 3 because nobody on the team has 3 points. Hagelin and Burakovsky stand out as guys who are scoreless. And with TJ Oshie sidelined, these are kind of guys that they will be looking at for scoring. Because we've switched venues, because we're now in Carolina, Ovechkin becomes the bad guy, much like Foegele is the bad guy if we're in Washington. So at least fans have somebody to direct their anger towards. Foegele, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's actually the scoring leader for Carolina because they didn't score in the last game, so nothing changed. Slavin with 5 assists, and there are still 7 players with 3 or more points. Nino Niederreiter stands out as a guy with only 1 assist so far in 5 games. They'll be looking for more from him. But there are a few others I could have put up there. Sure. Holtby, a .923 save percentage. Mrazek, after those 6 goals he allowed in the last game, now has a save percentage of .890 in the series. And that's how easily, as a goaltender, you can have a good series turn to, well, he's not very good when people look at the save percentage after the series is over. So, the key thing for Carolina, and I know there's going to be a lot of people looking at whether or not Svechnikov plays. And if he does, if he doesn't, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Svechnikov, I guess emotionally it could make a huge difference, but I'm looking more towards Aho and Teravainen if Carolina is going to win this. They need to be a little more prominent on the score sheet. In this series, the way it's gone, 4-2 win for Washington in Game 1. Game 2 went to overtime. Washington won at 4-3. Game 3, Carolina wins at 5-0. Game 6, Carolina wins 2-1. And Game 5, Washington wins at 6-0. So a couple of convincing wins in there. And the Carolina Hurricanes will be looking to get another one tonight. It's going to be close, I think. And I'm guessing, just guessing here, there's going to be a little bit of fisticuffs after the whistle. Although as these series go along and the games become more and more important, that does seem to be happening less. It happened a bit less between San Jose and Vegas last night, and it definitely happened less between Toronto and Boston. Teams are going, all right, these games are too important. We can't afford to go out there and get any penalties at all. We've got to watch ourselves. And in the case of Carolina at home, you don't want to put Washington on the power play more than you have to. and you want to keep them quiet on the road. Because in the 2 games in Carolina, they only had 1 goal to the 7 scored by the Hurricanes. So tonight they're going to be looking to keep up that kind of a pace. And if so, then they'll force a Game 7 in Washington. And Game 7s are always fun. Even if you're sitting on the edge of your seat, you've chewed off all your fingernails, your hair's turned gray during the game, and you maybe at the end of the game decide you don't like hockey anymore. Game 7s are still pretty excellent. But yeah, there is a lot of PTSD kind of stuff that'll take place during Game 7s. And if you're a fan as as old as I am, you've seen a lot of cases where at the end of a game you go, this sport's stupid. That Game 7 was dumb and this sport's stupid, and I don't think I like it anymore. I've had those moments watching plenty of playoff games. As a kid, when I'm trying to cheer for the Capitals and every time they go in overtime they lose, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can cheer for these guys. So, just as a window into the Wayback Machine, so to speak. All right, that being said, and moving along, Dallas has a chance to close things out against Nashville tonight. So the difference between these 2 series is pretty major. This series, home team wins every game. This series, it's a crapshoot. And it's been back-to-back wins for Nashville, followed by back-to-back wins for Dallas. Now Dallas has a chance to close it out in Dallas. They're 1-1 at home in these playoffs. They're trying to go to 2-1, whereas Nashville's 1-2 at home, and that's the difference in the series. So with Dallas having a chance to win this series, and Dallas fans being very, well, we're the better team, so we're going to win this. Yeah, I get that Dallas has played better and that, Nashville hasn't looked great. But I think Nashville at the same time, being in a Game 6 and their best players I don't think have had their best game yet, makes me mildly nervous as a Dallas fan. And again, and I said this in the live stream yesterday, the idea that you blindly cheer for the Dallas Stars, like, oh, always believe. They've won 1 Stanley Cup in the 37 years I've followed them. It's pretty easy when they've won once in 37 years to go, I don't know if they're going to win it this year. Blind faith just leads to driving right off a cliff. There'll be a bridge there by the time we hit that cliff. Don't worry, I have faith. Okay. Nashville. Speaking of going off a cliff. Is that a good segue? No. Yossi, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's their leader in scoring. Rocco Grimaldi, the 50-goal scorer. At least he's playing that way in this series, or Ben Bishop's making it look like he's playing like it this series. He has 3 goals. Ellis has 3 assists. Craig Smith stands out with 1 goal, no assists, as a guy who might be overdue for a big game. And Arvidsson is still scoreless. So what's going on with Victor Arvidsson? Is it just a matter of him not being able to get things to go into the net for him, or is it something more? Is there a nagging injury we're going to hear about after the playoffs? Inquiring minds want to know. On the Dallas side, Jamie Benn, 1 goal, 5 assists. It's amazing what a difference a week and a half can make. And not only that, but somewhere Jim Lights has to be going, yeah, I made that happen. Remember months ago we talked about how Sagan and Ben weren't playing up to their potential and they weren't worth the money that they were being paid, and now both of them have played pretty well in this series, so I'm sure he's sitting there going, kind of nice to know I played a small role in this by calling them losers. Oh no, that's not what I called them. I can't say it on a PG rated show. 6 players with 3 or more points for the Dallas Stars. Radek Faksa stands out as a guy who's scoreless, but Faksa does a lot on the defensive side, so it's forgivable. And we'll see if Rupe Hintz continues to be a story. Hintz has built up his resume throughout the playoffs, and it's got quite impressive, so it has. Radek Faksa, I like, and Hintz I like as well. And there's a lot of players in Dallas that I'm a fan of. I like the blue line they've got put together right now, too. And an underrated addition was Ben Lovejoy. Ben Lovejoy has been solid when called upon in this series as well. So, good story. But guess what? Nashville's not out. And last I heard, until a series is over, you don't celebrate. And that's why when I see people like, yeah, we're winning and we're great and we're awesome, and I'm like, oh, I've heard that talk before. I've heard that talk before by people that 3 days later are throwing a jersey in the garbage and going, I hate this team. I'm never going to cheer for them again. What happened to they were awesome? That was 3 days ago. Take that out of the trash. Pekka Rinne, 883 save percentage. Is that a segue for trash? No. See, because Rinne's not trash. And I know he didn't quite have the bounce back game in game 5 that I was expecting. So they're in Dallas. We'll see if he has that bounce back game tonight. If he doesn't, the question marks surrounding Pekka Rinne will only increase. Saros, 952 save percentage in his one appearance in the playoffs. So, again, if these numbers hold up, if Nashville goes out tonight, the question marks about Rinne will only get more and more pronounced. And I'm not sure they make any sort of changes, but this whole, well, they'll just hand it to Saros. Saros is good. I don't know if he's a starter though. Ben Bishop, 935 save percentage. As an observer, I think he's been excellent. Being the playoffs, the thing I've started noticing now is that if a goaltender saves a lot of shots, people immediately will say, "Well, they weren't tough shots." They weren't tough shots, really, because it's the playoffs. So, what we remember is goalies who let some easy ones in. We remember that. So when a guy has a 935 save percentage, I'm not going to look and go, "Well, yeah, but the quality is what." No, let's not get into that, because then we're going to have to relook over the entire regular season, and odds are somebody's allowing a soft goal somewhere, and as long as it's not your goaltender, or if after allowing a soft goal, which Bishop has done a few times in this series, they're solid outside of that, I can't decry him or get angry with him. Anyways, if you look at this series, it's been really back and forth, and to me it makes Game 6 really unpredictable. 3-2 Dallas in Game 1. That's your key game really in this. Game 2, Nashville wins in overtime 2-1, which, I thought, man, that could really hurt Dallas. Nashville wins Game 3 in Dallas 3-2, which is where I go, okay. Dallas then wins Game 4 5-1 and wins Game 5 5-3. So we'll see if they can close it out tonight, or if the Nashville Predators that won Games 2 and 3, by keeping the scoring and the chances low and just playing that grinded out style, we'll see if they're able to do that tonight against Dallas. But there you go. You guys are all set up for tonight's games. We'll see if it's Carolina and Nashville's last dance, or if they'll get chances to go to Game 7. And Game 7 is... now, I will not be offended by Dallas if they end it in 6 tonight. Just throwing that out there. It won't offend me at all. My bracket's already busted. Thanks, guys. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not going to be offended if Nashville's out tonight. Just saying. Anyways, there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to let me know in the comment section below your thoughts and whatnot. And hey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe as well. Very popular thing to do. Approaching 84,000, which is just insane. But, insanity seems to be the way of things on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.